Hi, my name's Ben. I work for the Game House, and today we're going to be looking at the top 5 wide receiver free agents for the 2023 offseason. Okay, so first and foremost, these are going to be subjective. You may have someone higher on your list than I do, but these are just my favorites for the 2023 offseason. It's historically kind of a weak wide receiver free agency period this year, especially considering all the movement we saw last year with people like Tyreek Hill. But we're just going to jump into it. One of my favorites is actually Nicole Hardman. Hardman didn't play a lot last year. He had 25 catches, 297 yards, but he did have 4 touchdowns. And he played in the Chiefs' offense. He played with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, so he can understand a complicated offense and he can produce in a crowded offense. So I like him a lot for that reason. And also, he's speedy. He might be injured, but when he comes back at full strength, he will be fast. He will be ready to run. And he could be a great wide receiver, too, for most teams. He could be a wide receiver 1 on many teams, considering he already has a ring. Might be easier to pay him a little bit more to go to a team that isn't championship ready. Next, we have DJ Shark, or Chark. I'm not sure really how you say that, but I'm going to say Shark because it sounds cooler. Last year with the Lions, he had 30 catches, 502 yards, and 3 scores. Shark is another player, had some injury issues last year especially. He wasn't that consistent when he played, but he does hold a lot of potential, and he can get down the field. He's big, and the only real question mark with him is his health going forward. All right, Darius Slayton is up next. This one's an easy one for me because he was really one of the only options for the Giants. The Giants traded away Kadarius Toney despite being kind of needy at the wide receiver position, which allowed Darius Slayton to really take a step up. Now, can he be a wide receiver 1 anywhere? I'm not so sure about that. I think he'll most likely be a wide receiver 2, a complementary piece. But with 46 catches, 724 yards, and 2 touchdowns, makes sense for a limited quarterback like Daniel Jones. Those numbers could jump up significantly if he can play with a better quarterback. The next one I have is Allen Lazard, and this one is interesting. So he was sort of forced into a wide receiver 1 role with the Packers last year, given that Devontae Adams left, Randall Cobb is old, and their other 2 wide receivers that they relied on were rookies who Aaron Rodgers got off of the same page with. When a wide receiver makes a mistake, he kind of goes a little bit cold on them. Not as much as it's been made out to be, but it is visible to the average NFL fan. But Allen Lazard is a big, tall, strong wide receiver who actually really excels in the blocking game. Most people remember in Miami, he blocked 3 people at once, knocked them all to the ground, and then counted 1, 2, 3, got a fine for it. He's mostly a pass-catching wide receiver too, but when it comes to his versatility and what he can do in the run and the pass blocking game, he can be really, really valuable, especially to a team like, say, the 49ers, who do so many different things and have so many different packages and like to run the ball in so many different ways. He could be a really good addition to a complicated offense. Despite being forced into a wide receiver 1 role, he did have 6 catches, almost 800 yards, and 6 touchdowns last year, and that's with missing a few games due to injury. All right, Juju SmithSchuster is up next. Like I said, not a great wide receiver class if Juju SmithSchuster is in the top 5. But with 78 catches, almost 1,000 yards, and 3 touchdowns, you have to factor in that some of that is Andy Reid scheming, Eric Bieniemy's offense, and Patrick Mahomes' play. But he can still be productive. He's not an absolute game changer like he used to be, but he can still be productive, and he was only on a 1-year contract. He was trying to kind of prove himself. He went out, won a ring, and now he might be ready to get paid, or maybe ready to settle into a more consistent role because everything was changing so much in the wide receiver room in Kansas City. But he still cracks the top 5. And last, and maybe least, depending on your rankings, we also have Jacoby Myers. Now, he hasn't been very impressive, but he can still be productive. With 67 catches, 804 yards, and actually a surprising 6 touchdowns. He's really improved as a pass catcher. He was undrafted, which means he has something to prove, which means he really wants to make his money now that he's sort of proven he can be a big part of an offense. And you also have to take into account that he had those numbers with a defensive guy calling his plays and some very, very average quarterback play. Jakobi Meyers could still be big for a team that's looking to make a push into the postseason. So that's about it. Those are my top 5 wide receivers in this free agency. Tell me what you think. Give me your list, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned to the Game House.